Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you my top 5 high-end foundations for a glowy, luminous and radiant complexion. This is part 1, and in part 2 I will be sharing with you my top 5 drugstore foundation recommendations. So if you are ready to dive in to some lovely high-end foundations, then please do keep on watching. You will have noticed from the title of the video that I haven't called these the best foundations in the whole world, because you are only going to like these foundations if you like a certain type of complexion and if you have a certain skin type. So I have a normal to dry skin type. I have certain skin concerns such as, number 1, maturing skin. I have hyperpigmentation all over my forehead. I have problems with broken capillaries. So I really like a light, more to medium coverage, something that is buildable. And as for the finish that I like in a foundation, it has to give my skin luminosity. Now, I'm not saying that I love a dewy foundation, because I don't necessarily love full-on dewy, because I think that sometimes dewy can border on greasy looking. If I was to describe my perfect complexion, it would be lit from within. Okay, when somebody looks at your complexion and thinks, wow, what's their skincare regime? That's the kind of skin I want from a foundation, because I don't have perfect skin. So I look for a foundation that is going to even everything out, but it's not going to look dry and it's not going to look cakey. I'm going to be saying the words luminous, radiant and glowy quite a lot in this video. So number 5 is a fairly new foundation to me, and this is the Dior Forever Skin Perfect Foundation Stick. And this is actually a multi-use foundation stick, so it can be used as a foundation but also as a concealer. This retails for £48, and for that you get 10 grams of product. It comes in 18 shades, so a really small shade range, especially in comparison to some of the others. But I guess the idea is that these shades can be a little bit flexible. Now, this is the only foundation stick that has made the top 5. So the Dior Forever Multi-Use Foundation Stick gives a natural blurred finish and provides 24 hours of wear and hydration. It is buildable, it evens out the complexion and erases imperfections to reveal a flawless complexion. It is enriched with pigments and visibly reduces the appearance of pores. The foundation stick delivers a perfect blurring filter effect with heat and humidity resistant wear. The foundation is infused with iris extract, which is the signature ingredient of Dior Forever makeup. It offers a skincare effect all day long for an instantly fresher looking face, continuous hydration and more beautiful skin day after day. This is a really stunning foundation, and I would say that this foundation is definitely made for people who like easy foundation application, who don't have a lot of time in the morning, because let me tell you, this foundation literally blends itself. You have to do nothing to get it to work, and I think it comes across really natural-like on the skin. However, despite it being quite natural looking, I think that it gives you a very solid medium coverage, and you can build that up too. This definitely does give you a very beautiful and radiant complexion, and I think for more mature skin it's absolutely stunning. It is extremely creamy, almost emollient in texture, so you need to make sure that you like the feel of that, because it can feel a little bit, I don't know whether I'd say oily. It has a lot of oils in this product, but it definitely feels quite creamy, and it's very different to the feeling of a liquid foundation, and it's not for everybody. And despite it being super creamy, I'm always surprised at how well this lasts during the day. So as for the things that I don't like about the foundation, because it is quite creamy, sometimes I have found that upon application it can emphasize a few of my pores, even though it says that it's very blurring. It really does depend on how my skin is faring on that day, because as with any foundation, any complexion products, one day they can look great and one day they can look a bit off, and that's because our skin might just be having a little bit of an off day. So there is that it can emphasize pores sometimes, and you need to be aware of the fragrance in the product. It is very strong. I'm completely used to it now, but if you are sensitive to that, and it is their signature Dior fragrance, I don't know why they need it, but yeah, they have it anyway. And the only other negative for me would be the shade range. I was obviously lucky with my shade that I managed to get a good and decent shade, but that's not going to be the case for everybody. So that's just something to bear in mind. But all in all, an absolutely beautiful foundation stick, one that will make your life a bit easier and give you the most beautiful looking skin. Number 4 is the Nars Light Reflecting Foundation. This foundation retails for about £41, and for that you get 30ml of product. This foundation comes in 36 shades, and I know that some of you are going to be surprised to see it at number 4, and you were probably expecting to see it at number 1. I still adore this foundation. There is really not much between these foundations at all. So the Nars Light Reflecting Advanced Skincare Foundation is an innovative blend of makeup and skincare which instantly blurs imperfections, smooths the look of textured skin, and helps conceal blemishes, dark spots, and redness. It visibly improves the skin's clarity after 6 weeks of daily use, even after makeup is removed. It is suitable for most skin types, including sensitive skin. It has a medium buildable coverage with a natural finish. It is vegan and it is non-acnogenic, which means it will not clog your pores. So this is probably the foundation that I would suggest is the best for everyday wear. It has a genuine complexion enhancing formula. There is something about it that just brings out so much radiance in your skin. So although this is a luminous foundation, it is incredibly self-setting, which I think helps with the longevity of the foundation and helps it to last all day. This foundation is definitely your skin, but a little bit better. So you're probably wondering why it's not in the top spot anymore for me. And I think it is due to my changing skin. So although I still love it and it still gives me a beautiful finish, there are days when my skin is just a little bit drier than normal. And I found that, especially in the past, I would say 9 months, my skin has definitely become more prone to having drier days. And I think that is just basically due to my maturing skin. So because of that, I've found that sometimes when I've worn this, I have noticed it clinging to a couple of dry patches, but it has been very few and far between. So because of that reason, I could not put it in the top spot. It's always going to be in my top rotation, but I think if you have more drier skin, you might struggle with this. I would actually be interested how people fare who have more oily skin and whether you use this. I think that it could be a good option because it's self-setting. However, I can't comment because I don't have that skin type. So let me know if you have more oily skin and if you use this foundation. I would love to hear about it. I've been through, I would say, oh gosh, I'd say about 5 bottles of this, possibly 6, which is a testament to how much I truly adore it. So yes, it's still in my top 5, but just not made it to the top spot this year. Number 3 is the Chanel No. 1 Revitalizing Foundation. This retails for £58, and for that you get 30ml of product, and there are 20 shades in this foundation. I don't think I've ever spoken about this foundation on my channel, despite the fact that I've had it for a couple of years, and there's a reason for this. I actually got matched for this in store, and it was the complete wrong shade for me. So it's really, really dark. It's too dark for me. I actually know what my Chanel foundation shade is, but I decided to go in and see what they thought, and yeah, it was really wrong. I can only wear this foundation in the summer when I have the deepest tan, and I wasn't going to go out and buy another shade because it's £58. But anyway, when it is summer and I get to crack this foundation out, this is the most incredibly flattering and beautiful foundation, especially for more mature skin. Do be mindful, this shade is way too dark for me, but we made it work. The key ingredient of number 1 de Chanel is the red camellia flower, which is unlike any other, whose extraordinary energy gives it perennial youth. Enriched with red camellia oil and moisturizing agents, the number 1 Chanel foundation contains 94% naturally derived ingredients. Red camellia extract targets stage number 1 of the skin's aging process, working to prevent and correct the appearance of 5 signs of aging. Wrinkles appear diminished, pores are visibly refined, and the skin's elasticity is restored. The skin feels more comfortable and glows with vitality. I have to say that I do think Chanel make the most beautiful foundations. The finish in their foundations, I feel, are really geared towards people with more mature skin or more problematic skin. This foundation feels very, very skincare-like. It does feel like you are applying something that is really looking after your skin. It feels hydrating, it feels moisturizing. It really does give you a radiant second skin finish. I think it is probably, out of all of these, the most natural and skin-like looking foundation. However, having said that, it still does give you a really nice medium coverage. I don't know how this foundation works. I wouldn't call this a dewy foundation, but I wouldn't say that it sets down either. So it remains looking quite glowy. I would say, like the Dior, the negative for me is the fragrance. We just don't need it. We don't need that Chanel fragrance. The only reason that this is not in the top spot is because it doesn't last quite as long as the top 2. So the longevity is still good, but because it is a skincare-like foundation, I do find that it does fade towards the end of the day. I mean, you'll get a good 8 hours of wear out of it, but it will definitely start to fade after that. Whereas the top 2, there's no budging them. They're sticking around all day. If you want people to look at you and think, wow, what does she do with her skin? What is her skincare regime? If you want that kind of foundation, then the Chanel number 1 is the one for you. Just make sure you get your right shade. We are into the top 2 now, and at number 2 is the newest foundation release from Huda Beauty, and this is her Easy Blur foundation. This retails for £32, and for that you get 30 ml of product. I would say out of the 5, it's probably the least glowy, but it's still glowy. It's not glowy, but it's still glowy. Okay, right, I will explain to you. So the Huda Beauty Easy Blur Foundation is available in 29 shades. It is designed to even out the look of your complexion, adding a smoothing finish. It boasts a serum-like texture. This formula can be layered to deliver anything between a medium to full coverage effect. It is powered by popular skincare ingredients and infused with pore-blurring silica and 1.5% niacinamide, which not only keeps your makeup fresh and plump all day long, but it improves the appearance of your skin over time. This foundation will give you 12 hours of wear, and Huda Beauty is also cruelty-free. This foundation is an absolute dream. Okay, so this gives me really beautiful looking skin, but it doesn't give me super glowy skin. I would say that this borders for me on a soft satin finish, okay? So it's nowhere near a dewy finish, and it's completely different to the finish that I get from, for example, the Chanel number 1. This isn't a no makeup foundation, whereas I think, for example, the Chanel could be. Whereas this is the foundation that I will pick up when I need to rely on a foundation to make my skin look flawless and to last all day. This is it. So I find that it is quite self-setting. I guess the best way to describe this foundation is that it gives you a real soft focus finish. It does what it says. It blurs imperfections while giving you a really good amount of coverage. You can definitely build it up to be a full coverage, but I like to keep it at a medium because I think that if you went too heavy with this, it can come across as heavy and it could get cakey. So I do believe that less is more with this foundation. It's definitely made for people who want to have a glow to the skin, but they don't want anything too dewy or too glowy. They want that subtle, natural light glow that's not going to get oily looking and fade throughout the day. This is definitely a foundation that I have absolutely been loving, and I think Huda did an incredible job with the formulation. So yeah, definitely a new favorite for me. So we've made it to the top spot, and this foundation really is my number one, my ride or die, my holy grail, the best of the best of the best of the best. And if you have been a viewer of the channel for some time, the number one top spot is going to be no surprise to you, but it's the Haus Labs Triclone Skin Tech Foundation, and this retails for about £42. It's the foundation that I'm wearing today. No matter how many foundations I go through, I always come back to this. There's not one foundation on the planet that performs as well as this one. For me, this is just perfection in a bottle. So as I said, the foundation retails for £42, and for that you get 30ml of product, and it comes in a whopping 51 shades, which is incredible. So this claims to be a groundbreaking medium coverage, weightless, gentle foundation which contains fermented arnica, which will help to reduce redness and protect from environmental stress. It is made with 20 plus skincare ingredients, which delivers ultra comfortable long wear performance without compromising your skin. It has a serum-like texture which seamlessly blurs and smooths for a natural luminous finish that wears all day with no slipping or caking. I am certain that people are absolutely bored of me talking about this foundation, but it's a good thing. It's not a product that's shiny and new that's just turned my head. It's been a staple in my collection since it was released. This foundation has literally never let me down. I don't have the worst skin in the world, but I have problems. You see me every single week with no makeup on, and you see my problematic skin, and this makes me look like I have no problems and no issues. So it gives me that hydrated, moisturized and nourished look, but it never looks greasy, it never slips off my face, it never ever looks cakey. It gives you a natural skin finish, but with a solid medium coverage. It is genuinely some kind of sorcery. I've never once used this and thought that my skin looked bad. It's never emphasized my pores. It blurs them. It's never sat into my lines. It blurs them. And out of every single one of these foundations, I'd say this, along with the Huda, will not budge. They will be there, still going strong 12 hours in. So obviously this is going to take to different people's skin in different ways, but if you have similar skin to me, if you have the same preferences as me and you've liked some of my previous recommendations, I can guarantee this will be a holy grail for you. It would take something seriously special to knock this off the top spot. It's my number one, and it's my biggest cheat to good looking skin. So there's my roundup of my top 5 high-end foundations for glowy and radiant skin. But in a few days, I will be releasing my video on my top 5 drugstore foundations. So do make sure that you check that one out, because there are some absolutely phenomenal picks from the drugstore. So do let us know down in the comments, what is your favourite foundation? What is your holy grail? And why? Do let us know, because I've noticed, especially recently, how useful the comment section is. Not just for me, but for other people. Your recommendations really do mean so much. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. I so appreciate you being here with me. I'm really looking forward to seeing you in the next one. But until then, take care and bye for now.